All right, Albie. Let me tell you something.
I'm beginning to rethink that sending the kids back to school would be a energy saver.
Yeah. Oh, today was a tough one. That was tough. And by the way, I was assaulted today. First, this was going to be the big news. I was attacked by a bee, a small bee, unprovoked. I was walking in the street, Alice, and the bee attacked me and started stinging me in the arm, and I smacked it, and it fell to his death.
Now, let the record show by bee, you don't necessarily mean a bee.
It was something stinging me. I mean, what else flies and stings? That's all
Wasps,
I know.
hornets, yellow jackets.
It's one of those, yeah.
But that's not bees.
Why does my phone say SOS?
That means you don't have signal, except for an emergency, I think.
Why would it be like that? Aren't I in Massachusetts?
I don't know. Do you have is it an airplane mode or something? I don't know. Why am I doing your phone?
Well, I use my phone for the show, and I've never had it say SOS in my house. But I'm doing my phone. I'll tell you why I'm doing my phone, because this was on. Today I climbed 16 floors, Alice.
Okay.
I want you to guess the number of steps. It was during my second round of walking today that this thing stung me. Walking in the middle of the street. If I'm walking in the middle of the street, it doesn't live in the middle of the street, so it was unprovoked. It makes no sense why it would. It reminds me of the first or second episode I ever did of the Burn Barrel and talked about animals being a-holes. There's no reason why he had to sacrifice himself for this cause. It makes no sense. I was taken back, and I'm sure if you were watching me, somebody was like, oh my God. Guess how many steps?
18,000 steps.
Incorrect, Alice. 23,340.
Wow, that's a lot of steps.
Guess how many miles that is? Ooh, the math nerd in her does not want to get this wrong.
11.6 miles.
12.3, very close. 16
Okay.
floors. But at around mile 9, I was stung by this bee. Just makes no sense. I just don't know. I don't know why this bee decided to make it the day that it would try to annihilate me at the price of its own self. Animals are making less sense to me.
A lot of those waspy, hornety ones, they're very determined. They'll keep going after you. So if he thinks that you're an enemy for some reason, they'll.
So that's his street. Whose street? His street.
I guess so.
And we have a wasp nest in the back of the house as well.
Yeah. I didn't make an entire show topic out of the fact that when we had the neighbor kid over, our kid took her out to play on the slide with him, and she was attacked by wasps that I didn't know, but apparently have a nest out there near our slide, and got 3 wasp stings, and I killed 4 of them on her and got stung myself too.
That is incredible. That is incredible.
They followed her into the house. But that's what I'm saying.
Her into the house? Those
They're
bastards.
determined. Yeah, I killed 4 alive ones that were on her, following her when she came running, crying into the house.
That's terrible. I've had that happen, when my brother and an unnamed neighbor, I don't think forced, but maybe coerced or
tricked
me into, or gave me a wiffle ball bat and told me to beat up a big wasp nest, the size of a basketball, and I did. And first there was nothing, and then there was everything, and they followed me. They were all over me and followed me right into the house. Well, who knew? Calling for the eradication of bees again, and I don't need honey that bad. I don't care. I want them gone.
Not bees.
All of them. All of them.
No, the bees are fine.
Anything that flies and stings needs to go.
And there's a lot of wasps that are predators for other things,
For what things?
For those worms that eat your collard greens.
Oh, yeah. We never even got to eat collard greens, even though they're big because they have holes in them, and I don't want to share my collard greens with these worms. Who knew? No more collard greens. We never even got, so neither of us have really ever had any.
I think they're a cabbage-related worm, and they probably come from what I was reading, from related plants around. There's a lot of wild lettuce in the weeds and wild patches around here. Probably stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just saying. Anyway, so that's your wasp story. Good story. It attacked you in the street.
Attacked me in the street. No, unprovoked. Totally. By the way,
maybe it knew I asked you to destroy the wasp nest in our yard.
And Bill Ricka's message.
Mm-hmm.
His, they've got the newborn. Is that his first?
Second.
Okay, so now he's been there before. And our kids today have been terrible.
But I do think the jump from 1 to 2 kids is like one of the biggest jumps.
Oh, of course it is. No doubt about that. But I'm just saying that our kids today have been not good. Our 2 youngest ones have been at each other, and then
It's been a long day. There's a lot of school stuff. There's a lot of taking care of various things for various people and forms, and everybody wants money. All the school things for like sports and fundraisers and school pictures and whatever. And kids need me to sign stuff and send things back to teachers and fill out forms with their health insurance information, and then they're also trying to kill each other at the same time.
Yeah.
So,
and there's just bad stuff.
It's been a draining day.
But the good thing
it's been a draining 2 first days of school. We've already missed the bus once, so that's good.
Yes. Wouldn't want things to go smooth.
1 out of 2.
The good thing is this, Alice. By the way, guys, next Wednesday, September 13th, Alice and I will be at Awaken 180 Weight Loss in Cromwell from 4 to 6 p.m. And we'd love to see you there. If you live down there, obviously, you don't have to hike all the way down there. But if you're down in Cromwell, Connecticut, that's where we will be. And we'd love to see you. So please come on out. All right. So the big stuff. Let me roll through some of this audio, Alice, because it's really all over audio. Hunter Biden is going to be indicted.
Tonight, the special counsel in the Hunter Biden investigation has told a judge today he plans to indict Hunter Biden before September 29th. It's the latest outgrowth of the collapse of a plea deal that would have allowed the president's son to escape punishment for a gun charge.
So I'll continue playing this, but I'm not buying this horse bleep at all.
Well,
this guy Weiss is reversing himself now. Like, he couldn't do it before. Suddenly, oh my goodness, the gun charge. Like, he was gonna broom him. Now we've caught them. What should happen is Weiss should be in handcuffs. Is what should happen, because we've caught them colluding. We caught him giving away brooming Hunter's charges.
Right.
And since the judge read it out loud and said, "Wait, isn't this wrong?" and Weiss started to fold, it's now back on. But this is so BS. This freaking Justice Department sucks.
Correspondent David Spunt has details tonight. Good evening, David.
Brett, good evening. You know, this was tucked into the 3rd page as kind of a surprise nugget in this court filing, this routine court filing filed just a few hours ago. Special counsel David Weiss plans to indict the first son before the 29th of September. The exact charge is unclear. This update appeared on the docket for the pending felony gun charge. Hunter is accused of misdemeanor lying on a federal gun form when checking no to a question about substance abuse. One of Weiss's top prosecutors, Leo Wise, wrote the following to Judge Mary Ellen Noriega. Thus, the Speedy Trial Act requires that the government obtain the return of an indictment by a grand jury by Friday, September 29th. At the earliest, the government intends to seek the return of an indictment in this case before that date. As part of the plea agreement that fell apart on July 26th in Delaware, Hunter would have entered into a diversion agreement that would have helped him avoid jail time on this gun charge in return for Biden's promise not to buy another gun and to consent to entry into a background check system. Hunter Biden's attorneys say the diversion agreement was signed and they will act like it's still in effect, Brett. Writing late this afternoon, Biden has and will continue to follow the agreement which the U.S. Attorney's Office agreed and signed and informed the court on July 20th that the probation office had agreed to and had recommended to be put into effect. Brett, also unclear where this indictment would be filed. And remember, the separate tax violations are also on the table, according to special counsel David Weiss. Technically, he dismissed those last month, but that means likely he's going to refile them. He indicated he could refile those in California, where Hunter Biden lives, or here in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, so there's 2 tracks, what's happening there legally, and then the investigation continues on Capitol Hill.
Absolutely.
So, obviously, I want the stuff that leads to Joe. That's what I want. I mean, this Weiss, I don't trust him. Maybe now he's been scared straight. I don't know, but this whole thing has been effing backwards. He was busted trying to pull something off on us. And only now that it's been exposed, is he going forward with this stuff. I trusted nobody. Obviously, the gun charge is a no-brainer. Of course he lied in the federal form. I mean, what do we... They need... The special counsel stuff needs to go to the old man. We need to be investigating the IRS stuff, payments to the family, payouts, the $18 million, whatever it was, why kids were getting money wired, which I couldn't even imagine how to do. All of this stuff.
I mean, or even, like, what about the paintings right now?
Right.
Like, it's clearly influence peddling. It's clearly corrupt. Like, obviously, I mean, the whole thing is so bad, and I think this is part of why they're continuing to come out with polling that shows that Trump absolutely can and might beat Biden in 2024 if he's on the ballot. Now, is part of that the press likes to puff Trump up a little bit during the primaries so that they can then sabotage him during the general? Like, I do think that's part of it. You know, because they did that in 2016, and I think that they would do that again. But you know, I do think Trump can beat Biden in the general election, possibly in 2024. And I think that a big problem is that a lot of the things that the left wants to point to with Trump to say that he's corrupt, you know, and he mixes his business with his political influence, and his kids are profiting from his political influence. They like to say that about Ivanka and stuff. You know, a lot of that can also easily be said about Joe Biden. And I think that people see through that a lot, and so it makes it a much more of an election where people just pick their team, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You're giving me a choice between two corrupt people who sell influence in Washington, D.C. through their kids. And, you know, so at the end of the day, I'm going to pick the one that I agree with on policy, roughly speaking.
Right.
Give me my crook, not yours. So, I mean, I definitely think it's possible. There also continues to be polling that shows that Trump continues to solidify his lead in the Republican primary.
Okay.
So while I wouldn't say that it's necessarily like over, because this is clearly like an unprecedented weird year and situation and candidate and everything else, like I mean, I have trouble seeing how we get to another candidate at this point. Actually, believe it or not, yesterday, after the podcast, when I was picking up the trumpet, as we talked about.
Yes. Speaking of Trump.
I saw my first Nikki Haley bumper sticker in the wild.
Oh, my goodness.
On a pickup truck, of all things.
Oh, my goodness.
So, somebody out there is a pickup truck driving Nikki Haley supporter, which I'm astonished by. I mean, like, first of all, I thought all pickup truck drivers, like 99% voted for Trump anyway. So that was just like my starting point assumption. But yeah, I was confused by that. So if you're the Nikki Haley supporting pickup truck driver, I would love to hear from you and know more about your life and why you like Nikki Haley enough. Because, I mean, like, it takes a lot to put a bumper sticker for a politician on your car, don't you think? Like, especially in a primary where there's like...
well, I mean, especially, was it a New Hampshire plate or a Mass plate?
Mass.
Yeah, well, especially, actually, like anybody in Mass, if you're a Republican.
Well, you influence the primary. Like, we have delegates to the convention just like anybody else. But, like, I mean, I keep hearing about how well Nikki Haley's doing in polls, and I just don't know. And you know, I see normie people saying that she won the debate, but I just like, I don't know a lot of people personally that are like, yeah, Nikki Haley, she's so awesome. Like, I don't get it, so I'm really curious about it, and I want to know more.
I don't get it either. She's utterly boring.
Did you direct anyone to move the boxes, Mr.
today.
President? Did you tell anyone to move the boxes?
I don't talk about anything. You know why? Because I'm allowed to do whatever I want. I come under the Presidential Records Act. I'm not telling you. You know, every time I talk to you, I have a breaking story. You don't have any story. I come under the Presidential Records Act. I'm allowed to do everything I did.
If you have to go to trial, will you testify in your own defense?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
You'll take the stand.
That I look forward to. because that's just like Russia, Russia, Russia. That's all the fake information from Russia, Russia, Russia. Remember when the dossier came out and everyone said, oh, that's so terrible, that's so terrible. And then it turned out to be it was a political report put out by Hillary Clinton and the DNC. They paid millions for it. They gave it to Christopher Steele. They paid millions and millions of dollars for it, and it was all fake. It was
No,
all
I think
fake.
that obstruction
No,
charge is going to get the trial, Mr. President. I think that.
I'll testify.
Okay, if you do, and they ask you on the stand, did you order anyone to move boxes? How will you answer?
I'm not answering that question for you, but I'm totally covered under
There we
the
go. That means he's listening to his lawyers at least a little bit.
At least a tiny bit. So, did you see the reporting, by the way, that they have voice memos from his attorneys at the time, who he was working with, when they were telling him to respond to the subpoena about the boxes?
No.
That they have voice memos of the attorney saying at the time, like, making notes to himself, saying, like, we just asked Trump to make sure to give us. I mean, it's obviously like CYA voice memos to yourself
Right.
at the time, but like, we just asked Trump, we just tried to convince him to comply with the subpoena, and he keeps asking not to. And we told him they're going to issue a warrant to come for these boxes, and he didn't want to do it, and he said he didn't want to comply, and that, so they were clearly trying to cover themselves, that they were at least trying to give Trump the right advice about, like, giving him the boxes, and he didn't want to give up his boxes and whatever. I mean, my feeling is that I think that the classified documents case is, like, one of the most dangerous for Trump legally.
Right.
I don't.
And let me tell you, and this might be why right here.
Details coming out of this very historic first televised hearing in the Georgia election case, but we also have breaking news in the federal classified documents case down in Florida. One of the key players has just flipped against former President Trump and is now cooperating with the special counsel Jack Smith's office. That, according to the former defense attorney for Mar A Lago IT worker Yusel Taveras, who says Taveras has agreed to testify in the case, and in exchange, he will not be prosecuted. Both Taveras and Carlos de la Vieira, the club's property manager, were initially suspected of giving false testimony after denying allegations that they tried to erase incriminating security camera footage.
So there we go.
Yeah, and I mean, and some of this is going to happen in the Georgia case as well, which is why they indicted the 18, quote, co-conspirators here, is because some of these people are going to testify to stuff that may or may not have happened in order to get better sentences for themselves.
Yes,
they're going to say, Trump told me to do X, Y, Z.
Well, yes, and that's how it works, right?
Right, of course. So, I mean, the thing that's bad about the Georgia one is that nobody can pardon him. Like, if he gets convicted, he's just screwed. Like, I don't know what to do about that. You, by the way, had some local news on the taking Trump off the ballot front today on your Connecticut show.
Yeah, they're doing it in Connecticut and another state too. And now there's a group in D.C. who's going to try to do it in every state. Yeah, no doubt about that. Well, in Connecticut, it was particularly interesting because the chairman of the state party essentially gave the wink, wink, nod. It's fine with us if they keep him off. They said we should let the courts adjudicate it. And if you get the chairman of your state party saying, well, we'll let the courts figure it out, rather than saying we absolutely should allow voters a chance to vote for the person they want to, then it's just rotten. Just like the mass Republican Party now is useless. It's just useless. I have no time for any of them.
Yeah,
unless they pay me.
And it's obviously in states like Connecticut or Massachusetts, it doesn't really matter if Trump's on the ballot for the general election, because he's going to lose those states anyway. But, there are some states where it does matter. But like I've said, I think the backlash against that is going to be so massive that it's going to cause them more problems than not.
Well, it also allows, between that and if they put him in jail, it allows half the country to be part of the most unlikely, legendary, political and maybe historic stories during the lifespan of this country. I mean, if you thought you felt good about joining the Market Basket protest, imagine pushing back in supporting this guy who all this whole powerful institution is trying to destroy him. In every secretaries of state and these prosecutors and this and that, it's like you in a sense you make the adventure in voting for Trump even more of a movement and something that's got a lot of spiritual connective tissue between people.
Mm-hmm. I just worry that then what's going to happen is people are going to do January 6th stuff again, and like with January 6th, then a bunch of prosecutors are going to arrest them all and throw them in jail too.
Well, undoubtedly, but Alice, there comes a time if they keep the guy off of the ballot and throw him in jail.
Yeah. Which could easily happen.
Right. Well, then it's not like January 6th anymore, because January 6th was something that was happening inside of a flourishing democracy. If they do this stuff, then we are not who we thought we were.
Right.
And I'm sorry. I mean, what do we just keep letting administrative state and government and the entrenched DC powerful control forever every political race? Or they get to knock off the ones that they really hate? Like, I mean, it's incredible to me. I had a caller today, call and say, I'm a Republican and I can't understand why you support him. I mean, the guy slept with a porn star and paid her off. Like, yeah, because that's the etiquette of when you're a rich guy who is.
Yeah, are you familiar with Bill Clinton, by the way?
Well, it's not. It's still not the point. Is like, that's what you do. There are porn stars and escorts out there, and you pay them to go away. That's what people have affairs to. It's like, I'm not. But telling me that this is some kind of unique evil, not fit. No, the guy now is not fit. The guy now has done worse stuff. You can sleep with 100 porn stars and pay them off 100 times, and if you've lied about, you know what, since you want to go there, let me tell you what's worse than that.
What's worse than that?
Paying all those porn stars off, and this is worse than this. This is Barack Obama 1 week after Benghazi.
Ambassador to Libya killed in an attack on the consulate in Benghazi.
Right.
Is this an act of war? Are we at war now?
No.
What happens here?
Well, here's what happened. You had a video that was released by somebody who lives here, sort of a shadowy character who is extreme.
I believe he's an American.
Yeah. Shadowy character.
You had a video for somebody who lives there. Right, what he's doing right now, this is all whole cloth a lot. Mm-hmm. And they knew it. They knew that who attacked us. They knew it was a terrorist attack. They saw it coming. They were ID'd as terrorists. Benghazi attack was not about a video.
Extremely offensive video directed at Muhammad and Islam.
Making fun of the Prophet Muhammad.
No, what you had here was a bunch of savage terrorists went and killed a bunch of Americans.
Yeah.
But he's saying what you have here is a video. He's already 20 seconds into it. Mm-hmm. The video had nothing to do with it.
One of the Prophet Muhammad. And so this caused great offense in much of the Muslim world. But what also happened was extremists and terrorists used this as an excuse to attack a variety of our embassies, including the consulate in Libya. And
that is not true.
Yeah, we know that it's not true now.
Oh, yes, but he knew then too.
Right.
That it wasn't true. This lie is a more blood in his hands lie than Trump. He can screw everybody in the porn industry and pay them off. What this guy did in office is frigging criminal.
Irony is the ambassador, Chris Stevens, He was the person who was first in Libya and helped to advise us in liberating Libya from Muammar Gaddafi.
By the way, and just listen to this. What the irony was, he was the first one to help liberate. That's not the irony of anything. The irony is you were effing asleep when all this happened, and somehow Hillary Clinton was in charge of it. About the play-by-play.
The former dictator there. And, as offensive as this video was, and obviously we've denounced it, and the United States government had nothing to do with it, that's never an excuse for violence.
What a weaselly word, double-speak, fork-tongue POS this guy is. So I don't want to hear about Donald Trump and how, oh my goodness, he paid off porn stars. Who cares? I don't care if he stiffed his cabinet makers either. I don't care. That's what I care about. I care about this guy who's in office right now taking bribes from countries. There's a great piece in the Wall Street Journal that
Or telling us, by the way, that they got the guys who did the Abbey Gate bombing, too, when it wasn't them either.
In putting a whole family on ice. And then said, yep, it was a pretty clean hit. Okay. And how about this one? This is in the Wall Street Journal. Chinese gate crashers at U.S. bases spark espionage concerns. Washington has tracked about 100 incidents involving Chinese nationals trying to access American military and other installations. Chinese nationals, sometimes posing as tourists, have accessed military bases and other sensitive U.S. sites as many as 100 times in recent years, according to U.S. officials who described the incidents as potentially espionage threat. Defense Department and FBI and other agencies held a review last year to try to limit these incidents, which involve people whom officials have dubbed gate crashers because of their attempts, either by accident or intentionally, to get onto U.S. military bases and other installations without proper authorization. They range from Chinese nationals found crossing into U.S. missile range in New Mexico to what appears to be scuba divers swimming in murky waters near a U.S. government rocket launch site in Florida. How come I'm hearing about this from the Wall Street Journal, but not the administration? How come I'm hearing the administration say, oh, it's a safe balloon, don't worry about the balloon. We can't shoot the balloon down over land. There's nothing balloon. It's just a weather balloon. And then blast the balloon once it's away, once it took all the pictures and got all the information. I mean, it seems to me that we're letting China do a whole bunch of stuff, and this president got a whole bunch of money from China, from the Chinese Communist Party, for his family.
Right.
So that's what I care about more than porn stars. Or, who gives a frigging damn? Trump has done nothing, or Trump's boxes. He has done nothing compared to what this guy has done. And freaking, and I was like, it got into the Obama thing because the Tucker thing is out with the gay guy and whatever, which seems like a really unnecessary deep dive for Tucker. It could have taken 4 minutes. Okay, well, that's kind of interesting. Obama's gay. Who cares? The guy seems credible to me who talked about it. But who cares?
So 2 things about it. One, I've heard snippets while you were listening to it, or there's various little clips of it going around or whatever. And it's fine. It is what it is. Maybe Obama is gay. I don't know. But I don't really care, first of all, and I don't have the desire to hear about his gay sex crack life. Really.
Right, and
I
Tucker
feel
was
like
a little
I'm
cute.
soiling my mind with it,
Right.
and I don't want to know.
Tucker got cute with it.
Which I did hear that.
So you were left with a bad taste in your mouth.
Something, yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but I don't need that in my life. But what I do care about, and I think the reason why it's interesting and why it will be interesting to see if anything does come of it, is because it is one piece of the thing they came out with that girlfriend's letter, where he had said he fantasized about men and stuff. What I'm interested in is seeing if it actually turns out to be true and how the media will pivot then when that happens.
Well, it is interesting how you just absolutely weren't allowed to ask questions when it came to Obama. You weren't allowed to. I mean, there are still pictures out there of that promotional thing for his first book, Kenyan Born, it says, and you weren't allowed to. You're not allowed to ask these questions. That's racist.
So that's where it's going to start to interest me, is if the media starts to talk about him being bisexual or whatever, and starts to say
What's
the
in your
regular
mouth?
media.
Something that looks like it shouldn't be in your mouth. What is it? Why are you swallowing that?
What's in your mouth?
That was multiple colors. Blue and pink.
Something blue and pink was in your mouth?
Was it food? Was it from the
it was
floor?
What?
It was from the floor.
Don't eat stuff
Don't
off
eat
the
food
floor.
off the floor.
I saw him like pulling dog hair out of his mouth. This is a perfect snapshot. Don't eat stuff on the floor. Our other son this morning pulled out clothes from the dirty hamper to wear as his clothes for today. That's exactly what today has been.
I don't know. I don't like. Anyway, so I don't like. I don't care about the Obama stuff in that sense. Like, I don't care what he was up to, like stuff like that, and I don't really want to hear it. But I am interested.
And bad person.
But I am interested in seeing if it turns out that we do a completely new narrative on Obama starting in the next year or two.
Yeah, well,
right?
all you need to know is Matt
Taibbi
Taibbi talked about all the people in the back of his press plane, all the reporters in 2008, getting pictures with him and posting the pictures on the back of the plane where in their seating section. They were in love with Obama.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Cyril's
I don't know. But like you say, one does get to the point of like, who cares about the, yeah, now you should be able to put a new one in, Sarah.
Go ahead, try it.
Just don't pull the wires out. But like you say, there's so many other ways that the government screws with you that, like, it's hard to care about what they're doing in their private lives type of stuff, even if the media does lie about it and cover for them and all this stuff. That, you know, there's so much that the government does that's...
1 hour and 12 minutes.
Wow, that's a lot of time on there. Wow.
Ooh.
Oh, Sally made you pizza?
Ooh.
Okay. So one of these things is, did you see the Airbnb law that New York is passing?
No.
So basically, you know, we know that governments, city and state governments freaking hate all these things like Uber and Airbnb and...
Yeah, they passed this thing in Massachusetts a little while back, right?
I don't know about this particular one because this Airbnb, this is New York City only. And they're limiting it to, it has to be, you have to be present when you're renting your space. No more whole unit rentals.
Okay.
So you can like rent your spare room, but you have to be there. You can't rent your whole unit to somebody and not be there. You have to be registered. You have to be present when the people are going. No whole unit rentals and a maximum of 2 guests.
That's lame.
So it's going to close like all Airbnbs, basically.
That sucks. But New York is so freaking difficult, too, to afford.
Yeah, and I mean, so I have mixed feelings on this. One is it does kill the short-term rental market completely. Like, obviously, that's not why people get Airbnbs, is to go visit apartments shared by people who live there, right?
Right.
With only one other person. Like, that's not why people get Airbnbs. That being said, like, a lot of Airbnbs in big cities are run almost like sort of lower cost hotels, basically.
Right.
Where a big company has bought up a whole bunch of apartment buildings and, you know, is running them, like a management company is running them. It's not like, you know, individual investors doing this stuff. Some of it is, but by and large, like a lot of these big city Airbnb profits are being made by big corporations, not like regular people too.
Yes.
So, I mean, in that sense, I suppose you could come at it like the same way you come at people being upset that like BlackRock buys all these single family homes and stuff and then rents them or whatever. You know, it is part of that same phenomenon a little bit. But you know, overall, I feel like it's just the government screwing with people. Just trying to make life difficult.
Oh, totally. Or wanting
like,
a piece of the action and saying, if you think that you're going to... Because I assume...
Well, in this particular case, I mean, you are going to have to register. You are going to have to, you know, pay them, I assume, some amount. But so that is a piece of it. But, you know, it's not going to be very lucrative for them because the restrictions on it mean that almost all short-term rentals and almost all Airbnbs in New York City are going to not be legal anymore.
Right, which stinks.
Yeah, I mean, of course it stinks. It's the same thing like with them trying to screw with Uber. Like how you can't take the Uber from an airport terminal anymore. You know, you have to walk to some abandoned weird parking lot 20 minutes away. It's really like wild. I don't know. And so I care about stuff like that. I care about people like messing with my actual life, you know. And that does mess with people's actual lives.
Of course it does. I want to get to a little bit of Corinne Jean-Pierre here, Albie.
Mm-hmm.
She got a couple of questions here and there. By the way, are you up on the ADL Musk stuff?
A little bit.
The ADL guy's a dirtbag.
Yeah, so this has been a part of the same stuff as like the Media Matters stuff that we've talked about in the past too, where, you know, these groups specifically have gone after Twitter advertisers, including the ADL, have gone after Twitter advertisers and bullied them into not spending money advertising on Twitter anymore. So that's like what's hurt a lot of the value of Twitter now.
Right. And here's Jonathan Greenblatt.
Doing 7 days of the week.
Can I ask a question? Because
Sure.
I know this has been a critique of your organization and of many. Were you seeking to have some kind of either role at Twitter or any kind of donations made or other?
In other words, a shakedown. They'll shake them down, and if Twitter doesn't pay up, then they'll go after the advertisers.
No.
I only say that because there have been folks who've looked at these situations and felt that they were being shaken down.
Look, I think, let me be honest about that, right? I think it is
Dirtbag, slime ball. Man, I'm getting slime ball vibes off this dude.
sort of anti-Semitic trope to suggest when Jewish people express a degree of outrage over anti-Semitism.
Oh, wait, so that's what this is. I see.
That somehow that's a shakedown because Jews are greedy. That sounds to me...
Dirtbag.
I'm not even trying to. I'm just saying that is the critique. Occasionally you hear the critique among not-for-profits in certain cases that are involved in certain causes that talk to companies, and you hear it from leaders who say, I feel like
I hear that, but like my view on all of this, we've talked about this before on this show. I don't believe in, and this is really to you, Joe, I don't believe in cancel culture. I believe in counsel culture. Right. So someone makes a mistake, you help them fix it. So what we've tried to do over the years with Twitter, with YouTube, with Facebook and all of its platforms.
Dirtus Bagus. Oh my goodness. I get nothing but dirtbag vibes from him. He went on to say, like, we're just a nonprofit in New York. They're a billion-dollar company. Whatever. Oh man, dude. Yeah. Oh, dirtbag. But Corinne Jean-Pierre, you say, right, Albie?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me get to these. Hang on.
While you find that, another topic that I wanted to bring up, because this was something that I didn't know, and just a statistic of it kind of astonished me. And especially like being pregnant, this topic intrigues me, but you hear so much about like Black maternal mortality rates and like Black pregnant women dying more and all sorts of stuff. Do you know what the leading cause of death is for perinatal or postnatal Black women? So during pregnancy or in the year following pregnancy?
No, I don't.
It's being murdered by their boyfriends.
Oh.
Or husbands or whoever.
Yeah, but they're not calling that.
Well, but
they're not saying that they're hiding that in the mortality rate.
Well, it's not. Perinatal and postpartum death in general are low factors, right? So, but that is the leading cause of death. That is the biggest thing that kills pregnant Black women, or 1 year postnatal Black
white
women.
Girl tears.
Nope, or police, or anything. It's being murdered by generally often other Black people. So, which is really like astonishing to me that's true. And at much, much higher rates, 55% of the pregnant women who are murdered are Black women.
Wow.
Which is, 13% of the population. That's crazy. That's crazy. And just to think about that and like put that in context, it's like crazy to think about that people don't, and there has been a rise in pregnancy related homicides, what they call pregnancy associated homicides, since the pandemic, just like there's been a rise in all violent crime, like murder, rape, like you have in Connecticut. They're like, oh, crime is down except for the murders and the rapes, right? So like, what they call pregnancy associated homicides, which are these homicides like during pregnancy or 1 year afterwards, they are like the biggest leading cause of death for Black women, and Black women are hugely disproportionately represented in them. And it's incredible to me that that's like not a bigger story from the Black Lives Matter crowd or any of these other people. I mean, it is and it isn't, right? But like the Black Lives Matter crowd or like the abortion crowd too, because I always say this when the abortion debate comes up, but like I get a sense that a lot of the abortions that are about like women's autonomy and women's bodies very often are like pushed by male significant others.
Sure.
And that they deliberately pressure women to get abortions that they don't want. And I would not be surprised if that is a piece of the fact that that's the leading cause of death for pregnant and postnatal Black women too, is partner pressure, not wanting to be a father.
It's interesting.
I saw like this incredible post on Quora, which I don't really know why Quora exists, but that's that like app where people ask questions.
I get emails from
random people answer them, and like I don't know, it just went on, and it was somebody asking for advice saying like my girlfriend got pregnant and she won't get an abortion, and like what do I do? And all the advice was like, explain to her that she's going to be alone in the world and that you're not going to help with anything and that you're not going to be supportive at all and you're going to be terrible, and that if she wants to go ahead with this is her choice and it's up to her.
So that's
and
one approach.
I mean, like I think and even had like this weird like victim blaming thing about it that was like, oh, so many girls like, think that they're gonna change you by getting pregnant or whatever, and like, and make you committed, but you need to be very clear with her up front what the expectations are. I mean, just incredible, weird, dark, emotionally manipulative
the pro-abortion lobby is.
I know, it's all
harsh.
about the choice until it's not, right? And like it. And even Mark Hamill had that story that was like that. Do you remember, where his whole family, him and his parents, were pressuring this poor woman to get an abortion? I mean, like, I don't understand, like, why, because it seems to me, just like anecdotally from what I see out there, that like that seems to be a large amount of abortions are like coming from partner pressure, and not because like women wanted to go out and get them. So I like find it weird and dark that we're not more supportive of women, and pregnant women in particular, and mothers who like need help and need protection and need to like get some of these scumbags who treat them this way, like they either need to be in prison or because they I don't know. But like I say, it astonishes me that that's not a bigger story and a bigger, like, known fact that this is something that a lot of Black women face when they're facing these choices about, the lives of their children and, like, dealing with domestic violence and like, the fear of literally being murdered.
Yes. Yes, it doesn't seem like a pleasant living. Biden today.
Hello, everybody. I'm explaining to the press, I've been tested again today. I'm clear across the board. But they keep telling me because this has to be 10 days or something, I got to keep wearing it. But don't tell them I didn't have it on when I walked in.
As a mask, a little mask humor, just showing us that never really doesn't really matter. But that's good, because it was always just rhetoric. It was always just sloganeering anyway. There was nothing ever.
But they keep like coming out and saying, Jerome Adams said too, like, oh, the new boosters are about to be out. Get ready to go get your new booster. And I'm like, who's still doing this?
Karine Jean-Pierre today.
If you look at what we've been able to do from last summer to this summer, lowering gas prices by $1.20, that is because of the work that this administration has done. And so we're always going to be focused on what steps we can take to continue to lower prices for.
gas prices are still way up. It's $4 a gallon around here. So it's $1.50 more
And
than
they're
it
on
was
an
when
upward
they
track.
came in.
And we have no more oil in the strategic petroleum reserves to release out. So there's no like Band-Aid quick fix they can do to deplete the strategic petroleum reserves to bring the prices down temporarily anymore.
Good.
They already played that card, so they're out of that.
Kamala Harris is overseas standing in for Joe Biden on talking about foreign policy.
I feel very strongly about the importance as a general matter of engaging in U.S. policy as it relates to foreign affairs in a way that we pay attention, of course, to the immediate concerns and threats if they exist, but that we also pay attention to 10, 20, 30 years down the line and what we are developing now that will be to the benefit of our country.
It reminds me of when me and Joe Shaka would interview people for positions. And Joe was always a very funny guy. He was the editor of the Herald. And just talking to him afterwards, or sometimes it would be like an Ed board thing. And when the person would leave, just saying like, what was the meaning of like anything that she said? Like what was the reason? What was that just happened? And that's what she's Kamala Harris. Talk about Christie's line is misused. She is AI, but she's bad AI.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do. There's nothing more. God, Karine Jean-Pierre had to clean up. Oh yeah, that's right. When Joe Biden gave away the Medal of Honor yesterday, if you saw this, he then some tractor beam pulled him off the stage while the guy was still waiting for Joe to like say something to him. And Karine Jean-Pierre explained that now. It's a dementia
And he left as planned, as it was planned. He left when there was a pause in the program in order to minimize his close contact with attendees who are about to participate in a reception. And you all reported that, noticed that he left when there was a pause in the program because, again, he wanted to minimize certainly his impact on folks who were there.
He tested negative for COVID.
Yeah.
Why is he minimizing? He's minimizing because his mind is gone, and he heard somebody or something calling him from somewhere else. Minimize. Alice, what's the hot sauce?
The hot sauce is the Chelsea Fire Wicked hot sauce.
I think we have one message.
Bring us the Chelsea Fire Wicked hotline. Of course.
Are you ready for the message?
I'm so ready for the message.
I'm ready. It's 44 seconds long.
Okay.
What I'm most disappointed about with that Fruit Loop in the Matt Walsh video is that she told people about Shashuka.
Yeah.
Because it was one of those beautifully well done meals that not a lot of people knew about. And unfortunately, people are now Googling what that is, and they're willing to try it, which means there'll be less of that out there for people like me who've been eating it for years to have. And, so for that, I'm completely disappointed. And Tom, I do also agree with you. She does have that AOC beauty to her.
Yes.
And I wish she would, maybe do a little bit more with it because she's a good looking girl.
Correct. By the way, Little Wing, what's LXX1V?
LXX, so.
74? Is L50? L50.
Yeah.
74.
Yeah, 74.
Little Wing 74 on Twitter says, Shakshuka. Tom, go to the Pressed Cafe in Salem, New Hampshire. It's in a new development, the Tuscan Marketplace, I think it's called. They sell shakshuka and a ton of other dishes. I tried it there, and it was freaking delicious. I mean, that's for the All You Can Eat podcast, which we'll be recording tomorrow or Friday.
But, fear not, Steve and Gloucester, because I think actually it could have the opposite effect. If more people become aware of shakshuka, it might become available more places.
It looks like a winner.
And I think the ingredients are pretty readily available, so I don't think you have to worry about it like running out or.
And there aren't enough.
It sounds almost kind of like a moussaka almost.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know. Moussaka's Greek, but anyway, thank you so much for listening, all of you.
Hold on. I needed to talk to you.
Okay.
I want to start doing clips on Twitter, but much like you've signed me out of Waze forever, so the account that I had for 13 years with the shield and the sword and like that was a high-ranking general of Waze is now gone. I can't get it back anymore. It's gone.
Mm-hmm.
My TikTok account is gone. It won't let me. I can't access my old TikTok account. It doesn't send me to it or anything. And so my TikTok app now signs me in as a new account. So I have no control.
Do you have any notifications from the old account in your email or anything that you can know?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, that's not a bad
Did
idea.
you search for it in your email?
That's not a
What
bad
did you
idea.
sign up through?
I forgot. But it was a while ago. But it was essentially just all of it was just chicken videos.
Mm-hmm.
But so should I just start a new Burn Barrel podcast?
I guess so. I don't really approve of TikTok.
I absolutely approve of TikTok.
It's Chinese spyware.
Good. It's also good for marketing.
I
heard
don't
my guy, John Rich, talk about it,
Mhm.
saying they use it for Pardon My Take or whatever that is at
I'm sure they
Barstool,
do.
and it's really good. So I'm gonna start doing that.
It's Chinese spyware.
Okay, that's fine. Absolutely, they can't hurt our credit. I can tell you that. That is fine with me.
I'm not. It's
Feel
not
free
about
to spy
that.
on me. Absolutely, I will send you my illicit pictures of Alice Deng Xiaoping. Don't worry about it. I am happy to help you. 860-5. Oh, sorry.
I'm not the only one that's tired this week, clearly. We will make it through this week. It is going to be okay. Anyway, if you want to join us for live streams and stuff, that's patreon.com/burnbarrel. The links to all the places to listen to the show are at burnbarrelpodcast.com. You can find us there. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Rumble and all the other places you like to listen to podcasts.